welcome to the 12th week of the NFL season, but the first week of key matchups. I'm your host, Ian Charles. It's Thanksgiving week, which means not one, not two, but three Thursday football games. And although COVID may have succeeded in preventing family Thanksgiving get-togethers, it can't take away the disappointment of being a Detroit Lions fan on Thanksgiving. Joining me today to go over some of these key matchups throughout the week is not only Chuck Moran. Chuck, I gotta say, I love the outfit. It's a great look for you, but why so patriotic?
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to be here, Ian. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was a little, it's a national holiday, so it felt like sharing a little holiday spirit.
All right, well, let's get into these matchups. Who do you have slated first?
Yes, that's exactly right. I have 6 games that are all highlight games of the week, starting with your woeful Lions, who face off the Texans this Thanksgiving. And only the person who is thankful to see the Lions is Deshaun Watson for being lucky enough to face that secondary on Thursday.
Whoa, Chuck, they can't be that bad. They have...
Oh, let me stop you right there. They can and are that bad. Let's just look at the last 2 weeks and how they've been for the Lions. Alex Smith, who hadn't played a game in nearly 2 years, broke his tibia and the fibula. Yeah, comes back and throws career numbers, not just good game numbers. I'm talking career numbers. Almost 400 yards, no interceptions, 89.2 passer rating. Nuts. Then this past Sunday, XFL MVP PJ Walker comes and makes his first NFL career start and walks all over the Lions. And we don't even score a point for the first time in 11 years. Deshaun's going to have a great Thursday and a great Thanksgiving, that's for sure.
So you're taking the Texans then, I assume?
It would be a Thanksgiving miracle for the Lions to win.
I sure wouldn't mind a miracle, but what other games do you have slated for this weekend?
Well, unlike the Lions game, the rest of the games are pretty good, including the late game on Thursday, which has the 10-0 Steelers versus the B-more Baltimore Ravens. But they're without both running backs, Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins, who both tested positive for COVID-19. So they'll have to go to their third-string running back, who is also a pretty good passer, Lamar Jackson.
Chuck, you realize he won the MVP last year, right?
Like I said, he's pretty good. But the 10-0 Steeler Nation looks very strong. And I think if they win this one, they're coasting and could, possibly win the whole thing 16-0.
So I assume that means the Steelers over the Ravens in that game.
Listen, after watching the National Dog Show in between naps all Thursday afternoon, I believe I'll watch the Steelers win a close game in a true dog match of a football game. Big Ben's going to continue to keep slinging it. Claypool and Juju, they're going to keep making their TikTok dances. And John Harbaugh is going to have to call his brother up and ask if this is what it feels like to be a bad coach.
Well, Chuck, I totally agree with you on that game. The Steelers
look amazing.
Yeah, I agree. The Steelers look really good.
Amazing.
Okay, yes, amazing. What is the next game you have highlighted for the week?
Let me see. Oh, yes. The next game is the best game during the 1 o'clock games. The NFL has the early games and the late games. Well, this is the best of the early ones. And it's King Henry and the Tennessee Titans taking on Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. Both teams are 7-3. They're atop the AFC South. And this one could be a real close game. And I think if it's a close game, Tennessee has more experience, more talent, and King Henry is going to carry them once again. But if the Colts go up big, then, it's over. The Colts are obviously going to win.
Well, you clearly just made a claim for both teams, so I think you have to pick one. That's how this whole thing works.
Fine. If I had to pick one, I would say the Titans. There's more experience. They perform better under pressure. And King Henry, like I said, he's going to carry them. I just have one question for you, Ian. Is he really a king?
Derrick Henry? No, it's just a nickname.
No, I know it sounds crazy, but look at this picture that I found. I don't know.
Now that is pretty convincing. I guess I'm not sure either now.
All right,
let's just move on to the next game.
Next game, this one's going to be even better because it's the GOAT, the great one. Tom Brady, TB12 versus the young buck, the new star, Patrick Mahomes. And that's right, the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers. And it has to be probably the best game of this whole week.
This is a real game. I thought you just wanted to talk about Tom Brady.
Why? Just because he has 6 rings, was picked 199th overall 20 years ago, and somehow has cracked the code on aging and genetics and has reversed it altogether?
That would make.
I don't need a reason to talk about him.
Well, to me, it sounds like you got a crush on him, Chuck. I don't know.
No, not at all. He may look great, but his gameplay has been terrible this year. He has every weapon a QB could want: a beast tight end, a monster wide receiver crew, and a solid running back. And yet he still throws it to the other team. Unless he steps up this weekend real big, I think the Chiefs are just going to roll over.
The Chiefs will overcome the Buccaneers this weekend. Right?
Yeah, for sure the Chiefs in this one.
Now, how about this next game? You got the Packers versus the Bears. Who are you taking in this one?
Well, I got to be honest, Ian. I'm also a Lions fan. I know I gave you some crap at the beginning, but in this game, I got to be honest. I'm rooting for the refs.
The refs? What? You can't.
Yeah, the refs. I want them
play.
both to lose. I don't know. I want the NFC North to stay closer for the Lions to have a shot.
Possible. They could tie, and I suppose there's a way of that, but there's no way that they both can lose.
I bet there is a way. I bet there really is. How about this? If COVID-19 hits both teams, and instead of the game, both teams have to forfeit, but they forfeit at the exact same second.
How about you just pick one of the teams so we can keep this show moving?
They both lose, right? Fine. I know, a little far-fetched. Okay. If I have to pick a team, I'll take the Packers because the Bears are just absolutely atrocious.
Well, that seems a little harsh, don't you think?
No, it's the truth. You know that scene in The Dark Knight Rises when Bane blows up the football field?
Yeah, of course. It's an absolute classic.
That team, after the explosion, could beat the Bears.
Wow, Chuck,
I'm just calling it like I see it. That's all I'm saying.
That's harsh. That's just no other way of saying it. Well, how about the Monday night game? Who is playing in that one?
Monday night is the battle of the birds, Seahawks and the Eagles. Honestly, one of the most lopsided games of the weekend.
You already know who you're going to pick?
Oh yeah, it's easy. I'll take the team with the competent quarterback, the one who spends $1 million a year on his body, and the home of the 12th man, the Seattle Seahawks.
I agree that Carson Wentz has been nothing but a mess this season. And the Seahawks have struggled of late, but I believe they still will be a better team than the Eagles. So let's have a real quick rundown of all the games and your picks, starting with the Texans versus the Lions.
Texans, sadly.
Okay, how about the Steelers versus the Ravens?
Steelers make it 11-0.
Titans and the Colts?
King Henry is going to carry the Titans once again.
Chiefs versus the Bucks?
The Chiefs are sinking the ship and are going to win it.
And Bears versus the Packers?
Neither. But Packers.
And finally, the Seahawks versus the Eagles, which we just talked about.
Seahawks, because their quarterback knows the game of football.
Terrific. Thanks so much for coming in, Chuck. It's been a pleasure, and I hope we can do this real soon. Maybe in a little more formal attire next time, though.
Well, thanks for having me again, Ian. It's been a pleasure, and I think this is a great look, so we'll see about that whole formal thing.
Well, signing off for Key Matchups, I'm your host, Ian Charles. See us again next week when we break down more games with Chuck Moran.